I think this conversation around what is happening with the SEC is fascinating. I'm going to play this bite unmolested and just let it ruminate. Anyway, here's Paul Feinbaum.
Outside of Texas and Texas A&M, the list of billionaires starts to get really thin. Yeah. I can tell you, in the state of Alabama, there are 2 billionaires, only 2 in the entire state. They're both Auburn supporters. Alabama doesn't have a billionaire. And why is a billionaire important, Matt? Because they can throw around money. You can throw around money if you're worth $800 million too. But it's a little bit easier if you're a billionaire to give your school, not only to put your father's name on the business building, but to give your NIL fund whatever it needs. And you just can't call the commissioner of the SEC and say, hey, you have to solve this problem. You can't print money unless you got your keys to the printing press. And it's a problem. And I think people are theorizing on where did the SEC go wrong. I don't think it's a collective situation. It's about a couple of schools. It's about Alabama. Yeah. It's about Georgia. It's about Texas, because these are the schools that now in Texas A&M. You can't fix that by having meetings. You can't fix that by going from 12 to 16 to 24. It's all individual. Indiana didn't get there. Indiana was helped by the Big Ten. But Indiana got to the national championship by itself.
Listen, I on the Matt Berry show there, Paul Feinbaum, do I believe that Alabama's broke? No. Is Paul Feinbaum correct that Alabama doesn't have billionaires? Well, it depends on who you ask, because Paul Bryant Jr., obviously in the bloodline of Paul Bear Bryant, is by some accounts a billionaire. I mean, he is the founder of Ready Mix Cement, which he sold. He's got the Bryant Bank. Like, just looking at all of the major donors, I don't know that it's accurate to say there are no billionaires in Alabama who support Alabama. Now, is there a dearth of billionaires just rolling around Alabama? No, it's one of the most underprivileged states in the nation, frankly. That does not mean that Alabama's broke. And I think it's just one of these things where this feels like spinning and excuse making. And really what it feels like is a call to the board for funding. That's what this feels like. This feels like a cash call. This is Paul Feinbaum, who is one of the most ardent supporters of the SEC, letting billionaires know they need to do more or Indiana's going to keep winning. That's what this feels like to me. I don't think for a second that Alabama is struggling to compete financially in NIL and recruiting. What I think is happening is you have schools like Michigan, Bryce Underwood, for instance. Bryce Underwood was bought and paid for. And who was the number 2 option for Bryce Underwood? Well, it was LSU. But LSU didn't win that battle because an heiress with $1 billion to her name wanted a 5-star quarterback at Michigan. So she bought it, right? That's the game we're playing. Mark Cuban wanted Indiana to be a prominent football program, so he bought it. Is Alabama struggling for that? Probably. Does Alabama have a notable donor? Oh, I almost said boner. Donor like Mark Cuban? They don't. Does that mean that Alabama can't win? It doesn't. Alabama was in position to win and didn't execute. Are you telling me Fernando Mendoza is a better quarterback than Ty Simpson? Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. He played better football than Ty Simpson played football. It is, in my mind, it is as simple as that. You are looking at a situation where everything came together and Indiana won a national championship. There's a reason that undefeated national championships are very rare, because it's really hard to do. So when you look at a guy like Fernando Mendoza and you look at Mark Cuban and you look at Kirk Cignetti and you look at the talent that he was able to get, where they're an older profile of team, I think, what is their average age, 23 or something like that? I am telling you now, That is a one-off situation. At some point, this is a guess. I want you to understand that. I am guessing at some point Alabama's going to figure out to win a national championship, you actually have to be able to hand the ball to a running back who can effectively run the football.
Oh.
Alabama didn't have a running game this year. Alabama, you look at their wide receivers. I mean, we could go into all the reasons that Alabama struggled this year. I don't believe that Alabama struggled because they're out of money.
No, and I think when you lose, people start asking questions about your money. You know, when you're, you know, when the narrative is, you know, Big Ten back to back, when the narrative is, you know, the Big Ten's got all this money, you know, your first area that you're going to go to in the SEC is, okay, well, how do we get more money? How do we level that playing field, and how do we, you know, continue to be the top dog in the fight? And because that's really all this is to me. You know, I agree completely that, you know, obviously Paul Feinbaum is a voice in the SEC. He is somebody who obviously controls the SEC narrative for ESPN, and I think that it's a situation where the SEC being better obviously helps many people. There's no question about that. And I think that you know, yeah, sure, if you focus on Alabama, yeah, do they only have 2 billionaires? Sure. Are they Auburn supporters? Sure. Does that mean the SEC is struggling for money? Absolutely not. You know, does that mean that you know, the SEC doesn't have their version of Cody Campbell at their different universities? Absolutely not, right? I mean, they do. They have that person, and probably several persons over, you know, and I think that there are just some examples from this season where you can see the power of having a billionaire or multiple billionaires backing you, you know, and everyone looks.
Alabama won 11 games.
Yeah, like they didn't have a bad year, but this is what we argued about, right? This is what we had disagreed about, which is what is a good year at Alabama, because it ain't 11 wins and not doing anything in the CFP. And I think that's the great thing, and the bad thing in the SEC is that a great season is I would say at least getting to the semifinal. If you get to the semifinal and you lose, all right, man, you know what? They were just a better team that night. But getting to the CFP and being a one and done is just not good enough. And I would also, again, remind you that, you know, the way you went out this year also, I think, sticks in the craw of Alabama fan, you know, just with how that game went, and, you know, Simpson getting sat down or whatever for injury, and like there was just drama. So I just think that
Alabama wasn't good enough on the field.
Yeah.
They were not woefully untalented. I think the bigger issue is you look at things like recruiting, right? Alabama is amongst many SEC teams that have a massive amount of Midwest kids on their roster. It's not a recruiting problem. This is the portal. This is what the transfer portal has done. If you look at the way geographies are changing in this country, right? People are leaving the Midwest in droves, right? And as a Chicago kid, I can tell you, I totally get that. There it is. You could not pay me enough money to go live in the Midwest, struggle financially because there's no jobs. Like you understand why, in this secular nature of our economy, which currently is down, why so many people are evacuating the Midwest. Well, they have kids, and they're going to have kids, and they're having kids, and those kids are turning into college football players. And if you live in the South, are you really going to go? Are you more apt to go to Missouri, or are you more apt to go to Alabama? Well, if you're a 5-star recruit and you can have your pick and the money's equal, you're probably going to Alabama. So Alabama's not, and I think this narrative took off yesterday, and the numbers don't bear it out. Alabama's not struggling to recruit Jimmy the high school junior. What Alabama is struggling with is winning in the portal. It is, in my opinion, it's as simple as that. It's why you look at Florida's struggles. It's why you look at Lane Kiffin's dominance. Look how dominant Ole Miss was in the portal. Look how dominant LSU has been in the portal this cycle. Dominant. That's where you have to win. So are you telling me that LSU is struggling for billionaire donors? They're not. The SEC, this I don't know, gaslighting, whistle sounding, whatever you want to call this. I do not buy into the narrative that the SEC is struggling. I do not buy into the narrative that, like, this bullshit about how, oh, well, they lost the Jimmy's Oil Change Express Bowl. Who cares? Do you guys really believe that the Nobody Bowl? Do you really believe that? Again, I'll stay in my yard. Do you really believe that Notre Dame was dodging BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl? Was it a bad look that they opted out? I don't think so. People want to say that. Great. But do you really think they're scared of BYU? Get out of here. Like
That's
that,
bullshit.
you're out of your mind. What you are looking at now is, especially now that the Big Ten's won back-to-back national championships, Ohio State is one of the most well-heeled football programs in the country. They make a ton of money. They have a great donor base. They're always going to have talent. They're always going to have coaching because they pay their coaches well and they pay their transfer portal kids well. Right? They're the model, in my opinion, or one of the models, in my opinion, for how you run a football program. It's what makes Ohio State exceptional. But that doesn't mean that the SEC is struggling. Ole Miss damn near went to a national championship this year. Ole Miss.
Well, and I think most people agree that they would have gone if Lane hadn't left and all that drama hadn't taken place.
My uncle would be my aunt, but he's got balls, so he's not.
Right.
This is the world we live in. Ole Miss didn't go to a national championship because they lost their head coach and their staff. That's the way the game is played now. The SEC's got to get better at playing the game of college football off the field.
Right.
You got to portal better. You got to develop talent better. And you look now, I think without question, and I was looking at the talent profiles, there is no doubt in my mind that the top 9 teams in the SEC are about to become the top 11 teams because Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M, Bama, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, and LSU are all going to be exponentially better. That's the top 9 teams, right? I have real questions about Vanderbilt without Diego's hot mom. I have real questions about the ability of, let's say, Kentucky to ever be a top 5 team in the SEC. I have to think Florida gets better. I have to think Auburn at some point gets better.
Well, that was the one that I was going to point out is when you have see, and this is the thing that's not attractive to Big Ten fan is that I can make a strong case that this is the average version of the SEC currently. Kirby's not as good as he once was. Bama's not as good as they once were, even though they had an 11-win season. LSU clearly not as good as they once were, but back on the track, obviously, with Lane. Texas, I have trouble saying they're not as good as they once were, but I feel like they're going to be better in year 2 with Arch. I think, there was a lot of improvement there. I would expect them to be pretty competitive this year. I think he's going to have a much better season and a much better start to the season, frankly.
He better.
And then you've got Summerall, Florida, right? You've got a situation at Florida where theoretically Florida should be much more competitive. And so to that point, I say, you're just going to have a hard time, keeping the SEC down for very long, which has kind of been our point on the show for, what seemingly is like the last week where a Big Ten fan is like, we're the best, we're amazing, nobody can top us. And it's like, well, I don't really agree with that. College football is cyclical. And yeah, you're higher on the cycle, but your conference isn't really better off overall, right? And you look at the SEC and I just think it's scary times in college football when the SEC has as many teams into the CFP as they do, and they're as far as they're concerned, performing at a rather average level when you look at programs and where they're at.
But this is a conversation about paying players. Like, I think one of the fascinating discussions revolves around revolves around this idea that the SEC only was dominant in, what was it, 16 to 22 national championships because they were the only ones paying players. And this is every day on this show. I can tell you it's every day talking to people. Like I can tell you I spoke to somebody in the Big Ten who doesn't even deny that everybody, if you believe that the SEC, and I think this is SEC bias because it's complete nonsense. If you think the SEC was the only one paying players, I have no doubt the SEC was paying players. Was Nick Saban only dominant because he paid players? The answer is absolutely not. And I find it hard to believe that here we sit in a world where we're talking about why Indiana won a championship, and we're going to make the argument that Alabama was the only entity paying players. It's simply not true. And you can look at Ohio State's a really good example because Ohio State's been relevant every year. It's a dominant program. So if we use the Alabama and Nick Saban was only good because he was paying players argument, then has Ohio State only been relevant for all of these years because they were paying players?
Yeah.
Is that the argument we're making? Come on. It's insulting that we sit here and we want to discount everybody's legacy but our own. It doesn't work like that. Why is it, and this is inevitably, and I dare not delve into the comment section on this. Why is it that we can't say, man, the SEC won 16 to 22 championships, that's domination? Well, no, Monty, they paid people. Well, everybody paid people. Everybody paid. Again, I go back to Ohio State, the Tressel, Mark Pryor's, I go back to USC. Do we just take away USC's? Well, yeah, they tried and vacated and Reggie Bush in apartments. Do you really think Alabama and Nick Saban? I'm not even convinced that Nick Saban had a widespread payment operation. I'm not convinced of that.
Yeah, well, I think that he was just so damn good at coaching kids that, I mean, I'm sure at some point he had to pay a kid, and I don't deny that. But when you build that kind of reputation, that's going to help you a lot, especially in the pre-NIL era.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm texting with a college football person who says everybody does everything in college football. If it turns out that when a player wears a thong, he runs faster, how many players would be putting on thongs? Every one of them.
That's the bottom line.
If you truly believe, and the biggest fan base is on the show, Texas. Do you think Texas was not paying players? Why didn't they win? USC, one of the biggest fan bases on the show. We know what USC was doing. Ohio State, one of the biggest fan bases on the show. Do you guys really think you weren't paying players? University, UNLV, Jerry Tarkanian. You really think? Come on. I think you just have to be, you have to be real about it. I think the difference now is, and the reason that the Big Ten's able to win back-to-back championships is you have done the portal better than the SEC has done the portal. That is certainly the case with Caleb Downs and Will Howard. That was one of the best rosters in the history of college football.
Yep.
That's
and
why
he had
they
to
won a
have
national
that championship, by the way. Just to point that out, because I think people forget Ryan Day was on the ropes as the head coach at Ohio State. He had to have a national championship, and he went out and got in the portal, paid a ton of money, and they went out and got one. So, I just don't, it's just not rocket science in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that it. Anyway, the point is, I don't think that Alabama lacks billionaires. I think what Alabama lacks is, and I like Kalen DeBoer a lot. They were not prepared from a roster perspective and from a game-to-game rep in and out perspective to compete for a national championship. You can't no-show the way they no-showed and think that you're prepared, because you're not. That's why, in my opinion, like the Epstein Island boys at Happy Ending Valley, go ahead, hire them.
Yeah.
Right. Michigan allegedly all in on Kalen DeBoer, and then when you couldn't get him, you guys were like, he sucks anyway. Hire him. Right. Like, I think my opinion is a lot of this is simply the fact that you have a guy like Mark Cuban who just does not care about his money going to Indiana. He is willing to. The question is now, will he continue to fund Indiana football?
Yeah, and I think that the Mark Cubans of the world, I mean Ryan Smith, I mean Cody Campbell, we have examples all across college football. Like, I think everyone just forgets, like Cuban's late to the game. Cuban's like the fifth guy to the game publicly. So like, I just think that whether you're joining us from the power plant at Levi's Stadium or you're in Indiana land, I just think that it's very clear, man. Bring money to the table, go get the talent, and then you have to be able to coach that talent to a level that allows you to win the football game. That's the process. I think it's tried and true. I think we've seen it at multiple levels in college football. You've seen it in the Big 12. You've now seen it in the Big 10, and you've seen it in the SEC. So I don't want to hear that Baylor doesn't know how to be more competitive, that Okie Light doesn't know how to be more competitive, or any ACC team. You guys damn well know what you have to do to be more competitive. It's just a question of whether you're willing to do it or not. And the fact that the SEC and their mouthpiece Paul Feinbaum are sounding the alarm on the SEC not having as much money tells you that they understand. It's not that they can't afford to keep the lights on, bro. It's that they want to win national championships, and they don't feel like they've got the treasure trove of money, to do that at the rate that they would like to.
But why then? And if this was all about money, why isn't Oregon winning?
Yeah, I mean, because I think, why Oregon's not winning? Because I think that, again, they're missing, part 3 of the 3-part formula, which is, hey, great, you've got talent, but now you got to coach up that talent, because clearly it's possible. Clearly it's possible to take a team that maybe isn't as big in stature physically and go win a national championship, which is exactly what Curt Cignetti just did against Miami, right? What did we hear all week? Oh, we're bigger than them. We're stronger than them. We're going to run it down their throat. Like, we're going to manhandle them. And it was quite the opposite, So I think that Oregon might be the best example of, hey, like, coach is in a good place, talent theoretically is in a good place, but the money allegedly is in a good place, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't just rubber stamp coach is in a good place.
Well, he ain't getting fired by Oregon anytime soon. So I don't. What is?
Well, but I think he's unproven. Dan Lanning, but Kirk Cignetti is not unproven. Ryan Day, Ryan unproven.
Because I maintain that Kalen DeBoer and Dan Lanning are the same guy right now.
I would agree with that.
I mean,
I would agree with that.
Obviously, Kalen DeBoer took Washington where he took him. So, I mean, he's got that leg up on Dan. But, like, current day right now, with what they're doing, like, right now, I view them kind of the same way.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a critical year for Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer, I think anything short of an appearance in the national championship game and Kalen DeBoer is going to be in trouble. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, again, I go and I love Jam Miller. I think the kid's a stud. What does it matter if you can't play?
Agreed completely.
You got to keep your kids on the field, and you always have to have competition. And now you're losing Ty Simpson, right? So I think Dan Lanning is one of the most overrated coaches in college football. He has done, quite literally, he has done nothing. He has won nothing. He has more disappointments than he does wins. And to me, that was Ryan Day, and then he won a national championship. And now Dan Lanning's lost Will Stein, Tosh Lapoy. I think they haven't done, I don't think they've had a great portal class. We'll find out. Where's all the money? All this money that Phil Knight's got and everybody's wearing a swoosh and knack is where is it? And I'm sure TCU James, whose life's work is to rid the church of pedophilia and pedophile priests, is going to come in here and talk about their facilities. What does it all mean?
Yeah, I think there's several guys. I agree with you on Dan. I think we've talked about this. I think that, the performance in the CFP just wasn't good enough, and obviously we can make all the jokes and that I'm a Dan Lanning guy and all of that. And I like what Dan's done at Oregon, so far. He is a younger head coach, just by overall age. Like, I think everyone likes to just leave out the part where Kurt Cignetti's been in the game like 40 years longer or 30 years longer than guys like Dan. But, I think that Dan, you're right. I agree, has proving to do. And the problem is that, I don't know if you're Oregon, what you do about that besides continue to work with them and fund it. I mean, you're really telling me that Oregon anytime soon, and anytime soon would be in the next 3 years, I'd say, is going to start talking about Dan? I don't think so. Right? Dan had him in the CFP, and as far as I'm concerned, for them, that's fine. But
isn't that the worst thing in the world?
Yeah, it is. But again, I think that part of it too is like Oregon's position is obviously different than, like for today's conversation, Bama's position. In terms of Oregon's in the Big Ten, they are making a ton of money. They are going to the CFP. The program, from an overall perspective, is healthy and doing well. No, they're not winning national championships. No, they're not winning at the top end the way I think every Oregon fan would like to see them. But I think that, when you think of coaches that are kind of in that same position, it's like Dan Lanning, Lincoln, obviously. I would throw Sark in there. I would throw Kalen DeBoer in there. I think there's a handful of these guys that are like sort of at the door of breaking through and becoming like one of the best head coaches in college football. And we're kind of at that point where it's like, all right, who's going to actually step up and do it? Like, who's going to beat down the door and who's going to get to the national championship game and get it done? Because obviously Cignetti was the outlier in the traditional path. He was the outlier in how you do this. So I'm not going to be the guy that's like, oh, well, clearly it can be done, so Dan should go and do it. I don't think that because Kurt did it, that means Dan Lanning can do it that same way, or that Lincoln can do it the same way. Kurt Cignetti is off the Saban tree, does it a certain way, has a certain style, and is 65 years old, I think, or whatever he is, 63 years old.
84.
It's just different. So I just think that you're right. Like, I think the notion that Oregon's got Nike money and Phil Knight and all that, I think that's a little played now, dude. I think that
Phil Knight and all that.
It's a little played. I think that Oregon football needs to pick it up a little bit at the end of the year. And the last thing I'll say is, I do think for coaches, that's part of how we need to have the conversation. Like, every time we talk about Notre Dame, it's like, oh, well, they got to figure out how to win in September, right? Not November. Well, Dan's got to figure out how to win in December, right? Dan's got to figure out how to win at the end of the year. That's the hole in his game right now. So it'll be interesting to see, to your point, how does the portal end up working out? How does, what does this next team look like now that he's got Dante Moore back?
Well, I think Lane Kiffin, I just look at I'm looking at the portal rankings right now. It's not even close. That the SEC, if we look at the rankings in the portal, LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas are 1, 2, and 3. Then it is Ohio State, Epstein Island, Oklahoma State, Indiana, Texas Tech, Kentucky, and Notre Dame. That's your top 10. That's a lot of SEC. That is a lot of SEC. And I would point out that A&M is 11th. Auburn's 12th. That's a lot of SEC. And I think it is going to be very interesting. Again, I just ask, what in the world is the Big 12 doing? What is
Not
the Big
what
12
those
doing?
guys are doing.
Because you look at the numbers in the Big 12, like how is TCU dead last in the portal? You want to know the portal rankings? The 4 worst teams in the Big 12 portal rankings. 13, West Virginia. 14, Iowa State. 15, UCF. 16, TCU. They have, and the hard part is, you just have nothing. TCU's got 12 portal commits. 12. Look at Utah, 9th in the Big 12 with 14 portal commits. You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And then you go look at, and this is why I say we could sit here and panic. Oh my God. Like you look at the bottom half of what are the 4 worst teams in the SEC? Arkansas, Georgia has 9 commits. 9 commits. You know what their average is? 88.4. Mississippi State and Vandy. So wait a minute. 9 commits and you're at an 80. Like it's wild to me. It's wild to me. And then you look at the SEC, the number 1 team is LSU. They have 38 incoming. Ole Miss, 26. Texas, 16 with an average of 90. 90. It's a huge difference, man. Like it just is, in my opinion, when you look at the names like Cam Coleman, the wide receiver from Auburn, DeAndre Moore, obviously is the biggest loss that they have, but you replace DeAndre Moore with Cam Coleman. So your biggest loss is a 94 and your biggest gain's a 98. You got better. That's what's hard to understand, right? Like it's just difficult when you look at guys like Hollywood Smothers or, Melvin Siani or like all these dudes like Rasheem Biles, the linebacker from Pitt, leaving Pitt to go to Texas. That's why the SEC is dominant. So we can sit here and we can hit the panic button, but come on. Chewy Gonzalez. Don't say unmolested, Monty. Jesuit James is here. Good point. Jesuit. Look at the respect. Jesuit James. I like it. Yes, the Big Ten hate is part of the internet issue. Yes, it is. I would agree with that. Everybody cheated. The SEC just did it best. Okay. I don't disagree with that. Alpha Buckeye. As soon as everyone can pay legally, the SEC can't make a title game, and now 3 separate Big Ten teams. No, 2. It's 2, not 3 teams have won. No coincidence. Well, I don't think that this is the exact kind of comment I'm talking about. So you're saying that Ohio State wasn't paying people illegally. That's your belief. Because my opinion is they absolutely were.
Yeah.
That's your belief. Okay. I mean, kids knew if you went to Bama under Saban, you were getting drafted, even if you sat 2-3 years before playing. I would agree with that. Chewy Gonzalez, I think the SEC was successful because the old guard, Saban, Ogeron, et cetera, had better coaching philosophies than the new guard. I would agree. Coaching's a big problem. Randy Riding, USC was a pioneer in paying players. It definitely wasn't an SEC or a Big Ten exclusive. No, it was not. I would agree with that. The NCAA should get a commissioner like the NFL does, because the kids in college, when they get money, they do things that get them in trouble. Well,
I don't think anybody gives a damn about kids getting in trouble because of the money they pay them. I'm just going to be honest.
See Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
See Henry Ruggs.
Nobody cares. Honestly, dude, like I appreciate the sentiment here, but literally nobody cares. It is as simple as you signed a contract. We're paying you. If you want to go and run your Corvette into the back of a minivan, that's on you, bro. That's on nobody else but you.
That is 100% your decision making.
Yeah.
BYU FTB. I think that means for the butthole. The old Southwest Conference used to compete with each other. Then SMU got the death penalty for it. Truth. SC was definitely paying players. Reggie Bush had to vacate his Heisman. Well, no, they gave it back. Oh, by the way, I don't know if they were paying players because the Reggie Bush thing wasn't the Reggie Bush thing an agent situation, but
who knows? Who knows?
What do I know? I'm not very smart.
Money was involved with Reggie Bush is what we know.
I don't disagree. Lanning and Lincoln. Yeah, same guy. Same Oregon fan doesn't want to talk about Jake.
I think I've been very transparent. I think I've been.
Yeah, you like to throat slam Dan after losses.
I think that.
Do you know what that's like? These
I mean, I think that I've been very accountable that he needs to do more in the CFP. Like at some point, it's all cool to drop 70 on a dead man walking Mike Gundy this past season, but when you got to Indiana in the middle of the year, you got boat raced. And then you get JMU Tech. And then again, you got boat raced by Indiana. So there are levels to the game, clearly.
I would agree. Dan Lanning has a lot of proving to do. Dolomite. That Nike money is masking a lot of weakness in that coaching staff. Well, I think he had 2 elite coordinators. Here's my question. Dan Lanning's a defensive guy. Why did you not have a pass rush? Why were you? I think that was
you were running. That wasn't what they were doing. That was clearly not the defense they were choosing to run.
So let me get this right. You were the Chicago Bears of the Big Ten.
Correct. What?
They wanted to rush the passer. They didn't have the horses to rush the passer.
So they chose not to rush the passer,
right? Which is ultimately my point. Why don't you have? You're at Oregon. You have all this money. Why? And I'm sorry, TCU James, whose life's work is to rid the church of pedophilia and pedophile priests. You have all these facilities. You have all these facilities. You have Nike money. Phil Knight, who's literally wearing a skin suit. I just think that Dan Lanning, ooh, great coach. Show me. I would put Lane Kiffin in this same boat with something to prove. Did he prove nothing at Ole Miss?
Well, he didn't win anything. What did he win?
Well, I think he had one of the best teams in the country this year. And he hasn't won anything. I would agree with that.
I mean, he's shown he can portal, no question about it. He's shown he can build a roster. I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
And I think he's shown he can win games anywhere he is. I think that's for sure. Lanning had a lot to prove, but so does Lane, Sarkisian, Riley, DeBoer. I think Steve Sarkisian's got a lot to prove. Sark bringing Texas back, but at the same time coming up short. Big deal. I agree. TCU James, whose life work is to rid the church of pedophilia and pedophile priests. How many kids were paid in the 90s and 2000s by Ole Miss before NIL was legal? I have no idea. I have no clue. Not a clue. It's almost like folks forgot that Oregon entered the portal era while also joining a new conference. Let's see how Dan Lanning era continues. It better continue on an upward trajectory. Because I think him not taking the Bama and the LSU job and then tanking really hurts his resume, in my opinion. It's all about coaching up players. NIL is creating parity. Money and opportunity is what kids want. Depth is hard to keep like in the old days. Totally agree. How old is Signetti? 78? 60-something. How old was Saban when he first won? 50, 55. Lanning's 39. Right, but in this day and age, I think it's cool to be young, but what good is youth if you don't win? What good is youth if you don't win?
Yeah, I think that you have a harsher viewpoint on Dan Lanning. overall. I think that Dan is in the CFP regularly, which is saying more than Lincoln, which is saying more than some of these other guys.
Right, but I'm not the one on the show who moisturizes his joint.
Right, but
That'd
you're the one essentially pushing the narrative that if it doesn't continue, how many more years would you give him? 3 years? 2 years before you're talking about firing him?
I'd have to know what's happening on the field. If you don't dramatically upgrade, like I give Sark credit, he fired Pete Kwiatkowski and hired Will Muschamp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tosh Lapoy and Will Stein just walked out the door and you kept it in-house.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I would have done. You're in my opinion, you have to be significantly better than they are. You just cannot continue. Multiple years in a row now, you have just absolutely fallen apart in the playoff. And you don't have a great portal. That's the other thing that I think really matters. He has 12 commits, 0 5 and 0 4 stars. Or 2 4 stars, excuse me, 8 3 stars. And I think the biggest issue is that when you look at his position, well, who's his most notable portal guy? Patrick Mahomes, or excuse me, Dylan Raiola. That's his most notable portal guy.
Mm-hmm.
Coy Parrish, okay, but my question is, Tione Gray flamed out at Notre Dame. Terrence Green didn't. I think Terrence Green's good pickup for Alabama, but you're losing. Will Tione Gray flame out at Notre Dame? I don't know. We're going to find out, but you're losing the better part of your defense. And where are they going? Blake Purchase is going to Ole Miss, right? You look at, and this probably shouldn't be surprising. You're losing a bunch of defensive dudes to Cal, right? That's not surprising. But their best player that is going to Oregon is probably Dylan Raiola. Dante Moore, he will back up Dante Moore when he's healthy. But I think Dan Lanning's got a lot of questions to ask and answer. And I just don't think he's done it. I think this portal is terrifying. Like if you're an Oregon fan, this portal is terrifying. And this show would be terrifying without Calamoni gifting 20 Monty Show membership. Speaking of Cal, see, I say the word Cal football and look who shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a beacon in the night. Speaking of which, there's some controversy in the Instagram DMs.
Let me guess.
Before we get back to your comments. Yes.
Hey, player.
Buddy sends me his Venmo. He's like, here's my Venmo.
Victor's the way.
What do I want? Your Venmo? What do I need?
Why do you need his Venmo?
Because he wants me to send him money.
For what?
It's his birthday. It is his birthday. He said, that's my Venmo. My birthday's February 4th, okay? I will see you sometime before then. Sundance starts, so I'll probably talk to you around my birthday. Got to make that money. Yeah. That's how we roll around here. I said, are you asking me for money? Hell no, he says. Well, then what did you...
Player, please. It's legitimately my birthday on February 4th. And since you're too Scrooge McDuck to get me a red Buffalo Bills
they lost
logo hoodie...
Yeah,
they lost.
Didn't fulfill your part of the bargain, bro.
Send me some money for my birthday. It's legitimately February 4th. I don't want a fucking handout.
Except you sent your Venmo asking for
Buffalo
one.
Bills hoodie. It was a red Buffalo Bills long sleeve 3X shirt, but you can't find them. And then I figured
I can find him.
why not get 2 for me?
Brother, they're readily available.
Let me just get 2.
So yeah, if you just want to send the red 3X Buffalo Bills red
Bro, this
hoodie,
is like you're renting from him or
that would
something.
make a perfect birthday present for somebody that brings so much joy into your life. Next to your wife, I'm probably the most enjoyable person you know.
I mean, those are facts. Should we all get together and send Big Daddy Magic a Venmo?
No.
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 Are you worried he'll smoke that tree if we send him the Venmo?
Mainly because every video he sends is like 2 seconds after he's done smoking the tree, which is why he's slurring his speech in the video. I'm a little, hesitant to send bro money.
Yeah.
How many times what's he going to say to the cops after he gets another public intoxication situation happening? Well, the Monty Show sent me money and I was just getting beer, officer. That's not my fault. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not here for that, bro.
BDM needs weed. Could be.
And by the way, dude, hold on. By the way, your team lost. You didn't fulfill your portion of the bargain.
Yeah, how am I on the hook not for one, but now 2 Buffalo Bills shirts?
Yeah,
and the Bills, like Dan Lanning throat slamming Jake, choked away another championship for the average ass Josh Allen. He's not average ass. Yeah, hey playa sound drop makes me smile. Not sure if it sounds like Sloth of the Goonies doing the hey guys, or Fat Albert doing the hey
player.
Sean the Hammer, rents due, here's my Venmo.
Right, like
seriously.
He's talking to you as if you're his tenant. Like, hey, bro, you can just listen. I know times are tough, but here's my Venmo. It's due on February 4th. Like, just go ahead and send me a portion of it, dude. Come on.
TCU James, whose life work is ridding the church of pedophilia and pedophile priests. The Bills lost, no shirt. How long do I have to say the whole name?
I don't know, James. I mean, have we publicized your cause enough yet, or I mean, is it time to have that conversation yet, or what do you think?
I think he probably likes me saying the whole name better than Jesuit James.
Seaman Demon James.
Well, I mean, he boycotted the show for 37 minutes.
Because he was tired of us, not pointing out what he does. So,
Marcus makes
life's work.
Marcus makes a great point. Let's raise like $500 and send the kid the Venmo so that we can see what weed really does to people. I think if we Venmo'd Big Daddy Magic $500, I'm not even sure he would buy weed. He would just smoke the Venmo.
I'm not sure we would see bro again for like 6 weeks if we gave him $500.
And that's the truth. It's his birthday. It would be a peace offering to the gods, right?
No.
It'd be, yes. It would be a peace offering. Me smoke them peace pipe, right? Like, which he would literally turn around and do.
Nah, man, I can't. I'm not facilitating bro, smoking weed. I'm not. No, I can't do it, dude. I'm sorry, bro. I can't.
The BDM stuff isn't cringe. It's just who he is. 3X probably needs a 6X. Be nice. I don't know about that. 3XL need no blank in handout. Well, he sounds like he's on a 2-day bender. No, that's how he is all the time.
Buddy was buddy tonight.
I'll give him a free membership to Rehab. Would love to do it. Advocates' cause is greater than BDM. Well, that's the truth. Send BDM 2XL Mahomes hoodies. I should. Wow. Or a Bo Nix jersey.
Joseph Lee Burrow.
Rent is due on the 5th usually. So, yeah, today's the 21st. FTR.
But FTR, you have his Venmo. So, I mean, now you can pay your rent to BDM, apparently.
James is getting great PR on this show. He always does, whether he wants it or not.
That's because of his life's work, dude. That's why. I'm
still offended that he broke up with us over the phone through text, actually. Well, it happens, right?
Yeah.
Actually, stupid. Jesuit James has a nice ring to it. It says TCU James, whose life work is ridding the... In God's name,
you asked for this treatment, bro. You asked for this treatment. I don't want to hear any complaining about Monty pointing out what you do literally every time you comment. Okay?
Your life's work,
God's name, image, and likeness.
And you said that I disrespected your demon. Well, tell your demon that I didn't disrespect nobody.
Demon.
Nobody. I don't know. Depends on where you live. You can get a gram of concentrated THC for $5 in Colorado. What are you doing in Colorado now? Wait, Jeremiah, I thought you lived in Texas. I'm so behind.
I think he's a Colorado. I don't know. Maybe I have that confused too. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll buy James's book for sure. You should. You should. As should Noel Ramirez, the newest member of the Monty Show. Noel, appreciate you. BDM keeps Taco Bell in business single-handedly.
Facts.
Roche, we could donate to the advocates on his behalf for his birthday. We could do that.
Bro, why do you have laser eyes Morgan Scally as your default picture, bro?
Dude, I'm telling you, Ute fans are super excited about Morgan Scally. As you should be. As you should be. Right? Like, I think you should be excited about him.
Mm-hmm.
That jawline alone is going to make tackles. Holly Rowe can use her left hand for BDM's hand.
Like, for instance.
Bro, dude, relax.
Why put that into my visuals? Why put that into my visuals? I don't need that.
Holly Rowe's left hand.
Come on, bro. Come on. Noel Ramirez for $2. BDM would probably break his phone and snort it. Okay. Wow. Sergeant Green, hey, playa, my birthday is February 4th. How about you buy me a new car? BDM by next week, probably.
Hey, player.
Probably. There's no doubt about it. And
he has no shame in asking, which I give him a lot of credit for. Zero shame in asking.
Hey, ain't nobody going to say yes if you don't ask.
Well, what's the worst they can say, Monty? I mean, if I ask him for a Lambo and they say no, at least I tried. Doesn't matter how ridiculous the ask is.
Is it a ridiculous ask for BDM to ask us to, like, send him money for his birthday? It's probably not ridiculous. I've had people ask me for money a lot on this show.
I'm not giving anybody money. I'm all good with Amazon gift cards or, I'm not giving you a Visa gift card to take to the dispensary, bro. That ain't happening.
To take to the dispensary.
That's just not happening, dude.
And I want that known.
Is weed legal in Utah? No chance.
I don't know. Let's look.
You got to go to the state liquor store just to get beer that's not even full flavored. There's no way it's legal in Utah. There is no way.
No.
I mean,
no. Recreational marijuana is not legal in Utah. Cannabis is illegal for recreational use.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see. Well, happy birthday, BDM. I mean,
I guess that's what we're getting out of this. No AJ Devanza references today or any references to. I'm surprised we're not getting more, Victor throat slamming after that little jump shot he made over Kevin Durant last night.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess we've escaped that for the day.
You guys are on this BDM thing. BDM should send me $500,000 just because I'm a nice guy and a TCU grad. David, truer words have never been. Will you use it on the portal? Because your boy Sonny's not.
This is your beloved.
You know, my birthday was December 18th.
We show up.
You going to tell him, Jake?
Yeah, Chewy. Fortunately or unfortunately, we share birthdays. So
wow.
try not to ruin it, okay? Try not to ruin it, bro.
Wow. Okay? You didn't see me asking for money. No, because you don't need it. You have the Dodgers who have all the money in the world.
Why don't you fuck off?
You know, like it's
$2 billion deferment clause.
Did you guys see the real? Isn't Kyle Tucker's yearly nut for the Dodgers $121 million?
Yearly? I thought it was 60.
Luxury tax.
Well, there you go.
His yearly expense to the Dodgers, Kyle Tucker, is $121 million. Like, how are you for this guy to do calisthenics in right field every inning?
I just try to stand strong.
$121 million.
It's a lot of money, dude.
Bro.
Yeah, and by the way, I'd also like to point out, now that college football is over with, you know, if you want to work in some baseball, you know, you want to work in hockey or the NBA.
Why do you hate football so much?
Now we're in that time of year, you know, because I'm just burned out on it now. You know, like Indiana and Miami wasn't exactly, you know, the national championship I was hoping for. Good game? Yes. National championship I was hoping for? Not particularly. You know, and I don't know. Do you never get burned out on college football or talking about it?
Never.
Like, wow.
I literally could turn this show on every day and just talk Notre Dame and the Chicago Bears for 3 hours. Happy to do it. Happy to do. What? You don't need to do that. Medical marijuana is legal in Utah. You have to have a medical card in Utah, but you basically just buy those. Is that true? He has his own thing going on today. He does. He really does. Medical MJ is legal in West Virginia, but not in smoking form. What other form does it come in? Like gummies
Edibles,
or something?
Gummies.
Mine is August 31st. Put it on the calendar for a UCF black and gold shirt. Yeah, let me get right on that.
Already been won.
Right. Pedophilia guy. Hey, playa. My birthday is May 12th.
Pedophilia guy.
I'm getting lazy. And I will be in Fort Worth for an intensive class.
Okay, dude. Again, we don't
this
need
is
to
the
know,
kind of comment
like,
where
what
nobody
am I supposed
cares.
to do? Like, what are we supposed to do when you say, yeah, Monty, I'm going to be in Fort Worth for my demon course where I'm taking an intensive? What the hell do you expect this show to do with demon course and intensive class?
And I'm going to buy you an Amazon gift card after you boycotted the show for 37 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
His cock.
You did. And he claims it was 43 minutes, apparently, but whatever.
Oh, 43 minutes.
Same difference, you know.
I'm going to be in Fort Worth. Nobody knows what the fucking intensive is. Nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows.
James, you should consider yourself lucky that Monty's dialed back the voice box dialogue too, because nobody's noticed that yet. But Monty hasn't been.
Everybody's noticed it. Everybody wants to know why I'm not using the demon voice.
Everybody is outraged.
People got up in their fucking feelings. Oh God, my feelings are hurt with your stupid. Shut up. I have feelings. Yeah, and nobody cares.
Yeah, so did those kids you're fighting for, brother. God.
Brother.
Just move to Greenland. Just
yeah, and it's not Greenland, okay? It's Greenland.
Orange land. It's Orange land.
Orange land. Soon to be Orange land.
Medical use is legal in Utah, and you know darn well BDM qualifies. He better.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Here we are. Okay.
What?
If I offended you, I apologize. And intensive class is when you get all your lectures in one. Bro, dude.
God.
Oh my God. Dude, do you really think we don't know what an intensive class is, bro?
If somebody could.
Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person?
James, bro,
Okay.
we know what an intensive class is. I just think it's funny that you refer to it as your demon and that you're taking an intensive class for your demon.
You throw it out there like everybody knows what demon and intensive and rectum is. Like,
Family.
you know, I'm waiting for someone to change their name to Seaman Demon. Oh, it's happened multiple times. I'm unretiring caps lock for a second. It's not that nobody cares, but nobody cares.
And I'll see you in Valhalla.
There it is. There it is.
Too many details. Just
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
I understand you want everybody to know that you're a demon student at TCU. I totally get that you want everybody to know that you've abandoned Oak State. I totally get that.
I get it. I get that.
I watched The Pope's Exorcist last night. Thought of James. Yes, he always needs a hug.
James, we're not offended, dude. It's not an offense
who's
thing. I just
offended?
like it's not that deep, dude. It really is not that deep. It's just I just think it's always been interesting to me that we have people in the comments section, including yourself, such as in like, that are like, Monty, did you know that Roma Dunze's name is not Jim Adunze? Did you know that? It's actually Roma Dunze. Like, yeah, dude,
Are
we
you
know.
sure?
Like, we're aware, dude. Monty, bro, an intensive course means you get all your lectures in 1 week and you knock the course out in like 4 weeks. Brother, we know. We know, dude. It's just fun to break balls. That's the whole point of doing the show.
We literally are just sitting around a water cooler here. Nobody has water coolers.
Oh.
We're sitting around a water cooler just chit-chatting away.
You look good in purple? No, dude, that's not what you should say to the pedophilia that you're fighting. That's not what you should say.
Bro, whoa. Dude, no, you don't look good in purple. No, you don't. That's not true. Look at that gum line. Are you out of your mind? No, you don't look good in purple.
And by the way, why are you in purple when you should be in orange?
Oh, because I'm a demon student with an intensive.
You know.
I guess.
Can you be the Chicago Bears from Indiana?
Dude, I'll be pissed if they move to Gary, Indiana. Like, what are we doing?
I want people to understand. I want people to understand just how crappy. We can't have nice things. We can't have nice things. And if the Bears move to Indiana, let them move. Let them move.
But what are you going to be then? Are you going to be the Indiana Bears? Or you're just going to say you're the Chicago Bears and your stadium's in Indiana? No, you don't get to do that, dude. That's not how that works. This isn't Kansas City, dude, where you just decided to take one step over the state line and you're still the Kansas City Chiefs. You're talking about moving to Gary, Indiana, an up-and-coming community that can support an NFL team. What are you, Salt Lake? Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Like, that idea to me is worse than the horse track nonsense that we had for like 6 months around the Bears.
Well, Arlington Heights is Fort Worth. Like, it's just outside of Chicago.
But it's still in the state, which is all I care about. Move down to the southern border of Illinois if you want to. I don't give a damn. But like, you got to stay in the state, dude.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second. The issue, if you guys are unaware, the Bears want the state of Illinois and Cook County to pay a significant part of their taxes and the cost of their stadium. You know, just give me the pills. I got the Monty Show now. What I said to the VA shrink. Exactly right. It's exactly right.
Give me the pills. BDM and Monty's DM section.
I literally can't even exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when James comes in here talking about demons and accelerated courses and all that, it's definitely an interesting
accelerated courses. Yeah, the Bloomington Bears. It'll get done. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. It is going to be very ugly. If the Bears leave Chicago, which again, I don't think they're going to, it will be ugly. If they stay in Chicago, it will be ugly.
But you'll still be in Chicago.